Well, so there's some information that you need, like, for this discussion, and I'm a piece of this puzzle from Santa Cruz, California, as well. So, let me tell you that being territorial, okay, being territorial, the problem that we get into is being territorial. Oftentimes, this is what we're talking about when we talk about the evil eye. Okay. And I know this because I used to be a bouncer, and I used to be a bouncer in Santa Cruz, California, that if there's something going on, then your basic idea is that I wonder if I'm tough enough to be that guy, that I'm just going to walk up to some people. I'm going to say, listen, this is non-negotiable. You know what I mean? Because it's really what you're trying to say is that this is non-negotiable. But I was working with alcohol, okay, when I was in Santa Cruz, California, and I wasn't even sure that I had the best savvy. I was working with alcohol. I wasn't even sure that I had the best savvy. And that is to say, that you're having communication with somebody, and that what you're talking about, ultimately, that there is such a thing as non-negotiable. And it's kind of like being a little bit apologetic, like when you're having this conversation with somebody. And I remember that from being a bouncer when I was working with alcohol, and I wasn't even sure if this was the best savvy, okay? And the thing about this is that when we get involved with this with homeless people, that we're talking about this, I guess that's what I would consider to be possibly, theoretically savvy. And we're doing it out in these arenas where our territorial behavior does not have any magic that goes along with it. You know what I mean? It's just territorial. And then so we get to this territorial way of communicating with homeless people. And the next thing you know, we're hanging out with all these Spanish people, like as if we're going to reach the finish line with them. And they don't even know what we're talking about. Okay? Because there's a lot of different things going on right now, like in this country. You know what I mean? But this whole territorial thing, about being territorial with homeless people, the best I can tell you is that I remember working with alcohol, and I remember thinking to myself that it wouldn't necessarily be the only approach. You know what I mean? It wouldn't necessarily be the only thing, but I was working with alcohol. And when I did finally approach a situation in Santa Cruz when I was working at the bar, I for some reason I made a joke out of that, and I said, listen, I don't care which one of you it is. Listen, my waitress called me over here. I don't care who it is. Somebody needs to leave the bar. Okay, that's what actually happened. Like when I had this actual, when I had this actual responsibility. So this territorial, I'm trying to say, like, it's going nowhere. You know what I mean? Where is that going? It's going nowhere. You know what I mean?